Please tell me.
Is not going to hurt it.
need to.
We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on...
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the control?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot?
She's all yours. Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking...
I guess even some...
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. You too have a history with Lennigus. A traumatic one, no less.
It is a place where I took the lives of running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you've finished looking around the ship.
To Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you. What was life on Lenegis like back then?
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using me as a...
You mean, they...
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, day in and day out, every single day, one test after the look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to... Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make...
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the one...
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Well, it is, but I can't keep...
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. Come back and...
We'll be go...
This must...
Let's just... They called...
You mean...
That's right. Day in, the look... I thought things... Is it any... Sure, I survived. And that's when it hit...
I'm sorry.
No.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the... It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if this struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have... If we're doing this to protect people... If we're doing this...
A world free of sacrifice.
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Xion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Dahnan victory over Rena...
You bet we can pull it off. We have to.
Yeah, you're right. We can do this.
to do.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it some—
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even...
that's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still,
What do you mean?
with the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made— Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right?
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for, the world's bigger than just Menancia. If I've learned anything and the one who brought me along—
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there— getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Before we do that, just what exact—
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenny.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of all. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral art.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dan. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Danon. Keep that in mind down there.
thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts.
Arts is as if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's...
So this Red Woman, are we expecting to find her on
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelagian.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That Red Woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them.
Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony. Possibly together with hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Everyone to...
So how many Renans actually live?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and zoo...
There's Zeugles out here too, huh?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about...
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here.
We need more information. Let's talk.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman.
And don't forget about finding the way to the
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't...
Good idea.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantage.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans among us should probably...
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What could be so important? It's worth It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire...
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral...
But why do all this? What for? Sure.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient.
He's right. We need to stop this.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right?
You heard him. We don't have time.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was...
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must... But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration.
Ordinarily, yes. Trust me. As far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our... It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought.
Sorry.
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to... This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find...
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess. Whatever did we do to deserve this? We have no choice but to grin and... But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Alas, when the contender I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone?
All red.
What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the asked.
Knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we...
But of course. Please forgive me.
I'll go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for...
You'd really do that for me?
Our lot in life is of little consequence.
Oh, why...
Information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
Not to this extent. Which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. That Lenegis is under some kind of...
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly...
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's...
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all...
The Sovereigns? There is one thing I'm still not sure about.
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and...
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be different.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign, come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign, though it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, at Dahnan. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that two sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point... Let's go find it!
Nobody left to run the show. I wonder what the... I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannibal, Madria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day...
Living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little...
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring? Every lord in their household has their share of support, and luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means...
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the...
What if she's not here? What if it...
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill...
And what skill would...
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become...
I'm afraid I don't quite...
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old...
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that...
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for...
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously.
Ganabout was so horrible to people.
Guess. Her willingness to stoop to any low. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
About it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lord, Balsif, and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a...
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, in which case the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that...
Yeah, that makes...
So,
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former Lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelegion, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they?
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that.
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some...
No use standing around here chatting about it then.
But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then you have my word. I will
For the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan
A time of great joy.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, but he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You
I shall do my best to...
Do you think he'll be all right?
Realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion.
Alphen,
done. This is sure to give the others some much...